Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome all of. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you for financial risk mitigation series by Macleod Pharmaceuticals. And first three sessions, we have learned a lot of things. First session is explained by Deepak Mehta sir on the various myths about the wealth creation. And in second session, Mr. Amrish Balinga has explained about the equity market views and the stock picking ideas. And third session, Mr. Ajay Mittal from SBI Mutual Fund and explain about the various risk profiling techniques and financial risk mitigation stuffs. And today's series, we are going to learn about the mutual fund, SIPs, and the financial planning. Before I will explain, I will introduce today's speaker. I would like to tell you one thing. In between the presentation, there is going to be a poll. So you need to cast your vote on that, on your opinion on the questions and all that. So for today's session on SIP, mutual fund, and the financial planning, I would like to introduce today's speaker, Ms. Alpa Shah. She is a social entrepreneur, author, and the financial profession. Alpha has worked with more than 25 years in a various corporate like Tata and SBI Group. And she has empowered more than 5 lakhs corporate employees on the personal financial literacy. She has given very important insights on the achievement of the financial freedom in the life. Alpa has run the NGO. It's a freedom foundation which aims to give a true financial freedom to the lower income group people. Alpa believes that the strong nation can be built only when there is a equality and the education. Money brings equality, and the financial literacy session create awareness and empowerment among this section of the society. Alpa has authored to the book "The Every Woman Should Invest." Is published by CNBC TV 18, and she is extremely passionate to encourage women on the money management. So, and she's regularly appear on the newspaper, TV, and the radio to educating people on the money and the management. So, and she has her YouTube series, Money Ki Baat Alpa Ke Saath. So, for all this introduction, I would like to welcome Alpa ma'am to take this session going forward. Alpa ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev and the entire team. Thank you so much, UTI Mutual Fund, for giving me this opportunity. I would love to share my presentation. And first and foremost, kudos to all the doctors for doing wonderful work during these tough times of COVID. My salute to all of you who are listening to me. So we are going to learn about mutual funds, SIP, financial planning, etc. Well, तुमसे अच्छा तो म्यूचुअल फंड है, कम से कम सही तो है. But at the same time, म्यूचुअल फंड सही है, but म्यूचुअल फंड बहुत सारे भी है. So let us understand how we can choose the best option for us. We are going to learn about mutual fund, SIP. We are going to understand the difference between mutual fund, fixed deposit, and saving schemes, how mutual fund is benefited over the other asset classes, and how it is very much, mutual fund is the great who need to invest money for future requirement, and tools and calculators which are going to help us understanding exactly what kind of money we should generate for our life goals. So what is mutual fund? Well, you as an investor pull your money and give it to fund manager or a mutual fund house who is an expert and investing in it in securities, depending upon your scheme selection and generating returns and then giving back to you. So this is how the entire mutual fund functions. And there are so many different types of schemes, funds available. But let me tell you, you should not get confused at all. They are very, very simple for you all to understand. And I'm going to make it much more simpler for you all. So there are equity funds, there are debt funds, there are hybrid funds, solution-oriented schemes are also there, and there are other schemes too. So, well, equity funds are like ELSS, equity linked savings scheme, which you can invest for your tax planning. Large cap fund, value fund, contra fund, multi cap funds, mid cap funds, and small cap funds are there. Debt funds are like ultra short term duration fund, low duration fund, money market funds, gilt funds, etc. Hybrid schemes are the mixture of debt and equity both, like dynamic asset allocation fund, arbitrage fund, balanced hybrid fund, and equity savings fund, etc. And solution oriented schemes like retirement fund, children fund are also available. And other schemes like index funds, fund of funds, etc. are also available. Just don't worry. They are very, very simple and easy for you to understand. And I'm going to make it that happen today in my presentation. So mutual fund is very, very convenient. You can diversify. Flexibility is there. Variety of schemes. So you can select which is best for you. And it also is quite tax efficient in many a times. So why convenient? Because as low as 500 rupees a month you can invest. Diversification, because you can invest in so many different types of stocks and schemes. Flexibility, because anybody can invest in mutual fund, and liquidity is so high that you can get your money back tomorrow. And tax saving, because there are certain tax advantages when you invest in mutual fund. So when you invest your money in mutual fund, it manages inflation, it beats inflation. Today's 100 rupees, next year it looks like 95, and 10th year it just gives you a purchasing power of 40 rupees. So only and only mutual fund can beat this. A smart investor will surely invest certain portion of the money in such product asset class wherein he or she can beat the inflation. And there is nothing better than mutual fund, trust me. Expertise, a very qualified professional fund managers are investing your money on your behalf, and very, very process driven, compliance driven organization is mutual fund all about. So convenient that from the mobile itself you can transact, go green. Everything is in the tip of your finger. Economical, because the expense ratios are very low compared to other product asset classes. Diversification, liquidity. In fact, certain schemes you can get your money back even on Sunday. High returns, obviously it beats inflation in medium to long term. And I'm going to show you how and why. Safe and very, very transparent, because SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India, is the governing authority. And definitely it first works for the investor's benefit. Well, what is systematic investment plan? SIP. Drop by drop, you can create ocean. But before explaining you what exactly is SIP all about, I would also like to tell you a few things about how much to invest and where to invest. So there is a simple ratio which you all should follow. 50, 30, 20. 50% of what you earn, you can spend on your needs. 30% of what you earn, you can spend on your wants. And 20% at any point of time, I would request and urge all of you to please invest for your future life planning and goals. Systematically, if you do something in life, I mean, you all are doctor, who knows better than you? So discipline, long-term, systematic approach, risk mitigation, etc. will surely help you create a lot of wealth for yourself over a period of time. And a smart instrument and product like mutual fund is the best. So when I talk about SIP, it's nothing but drop by drop, you're creating ocean. And once you arrive at, say, 100 rupees you want to invest, you have to follow proper asset allocation. So 100 minus age is the formula. Well, age is not the only determinant of designing a proper asset allocation. You must consider the risk-taking appetite of yours, your psychology, your nature, and of course, when do you want your money back? So liquidity criteria also plays a very important role when you design your asset allocation. So 100 minus age is a very simple formula wherein your age factor is also considered. So if you are 30 years old and if you want to invest 100 rupees, 100 minus 30 is equal to 70. 70 rupees you can invest in equity in long term, and 30 rupees you can invest in debt, either ultra short term or short term medium term. And we are going to discuss all these things in our future slides. So bond bond se bharta sagar, as I already explained you don't have 1 crore today, but if you want 1 crore, say after 10 years, 15 years, you have to start some small amount investment every month today with the help of method called systematic investment plan. And then you see, you will get not 1 crore, but 2 crores. So this is how you should make the best use of all the features and methods which are available in mutual funds. So SIP is not a product. SIP is a method. And this method, if you master, it will work wonderfully well, not just in your wealth creation journey, but in everything. For example, if you want to lose weight, obviously, if you'll do something with consistency, discipline, and with proper focus and long-term approach, it is sustainable and you will lose a lot of weight with proper health. So this is what is SIP all about. Well, we are going to assume here that if you get 12% CAGR returns, compounding annualized gross returns, over a period of medium to long term, which many of the schemes in past has generated such returns. Well, mutual funds are subject to market risk. Please read the offer documents very carefully. Past performance is never a guarantee of future performance. Well, still, so many schemes have generated even more than 12% returns over a period of 20, 25, 30 years also at times. So we are going to discuss about power of compounding and how 12% returns also can generate a lot of wealth for you. How soon you start makes a world of difference. So the moment you understand power of compounding and long-term beating inflation, you have conquered the world of wealth creation. Nobody can stop you by becoming rich. So over here, I have taken an example of 3 doctor friends, Dr. Ramesh, Dr. Suresh, and Dr. Kamlesh. They all are of same age and they all are going to retire at same age. Usually, we all are going to face 30-30 challenge in our life. So we work for 30 years and then we may live for another 30 years as our retirement stage. Well, in doctor's life, it is slightly different because they have to study a lot and by the time they start earning, they're at least 5 to 7 years late than the normal other human beings, because what happens is that they have to really take time to get settled after so much of studies, etc. But if you consider that you're going to live for another 25, 30 years after retirement, then you will need lots of money, isn't it? And inflation and standard of living will demand a lot of money from you. So there is something called passive income, additional source of income, multiple sources of income. And if you master all these topics, nobody can beat you. And you will always lead a very beautiful life with the help of money. So money is not to buy materialistic things all the time, but money is to lead a very confident and very, very dignified life. And that's why it's a social concern. If you can't make enough money for yourself at every different stages of your life, I think you are not going to lead a very, very graceful life. And money is now directly related with happiness too. With the help of money to a great extent, you can make yourself happy and you can make your surrounding and the others who are connected with you happy too. You can spread a lot of joy with the help of money. And I'm nowhere saying that you should run behind money. No, but you must definitely respect your hard-earned money and you have to make your money work harder than you. That's the only message which I would like to give you here. And that's what is just, I'm trying to show you on the screen. So Dr. Ramesh started early. He invested 5,000 rupees per month by way of systematic investment plan, SIP. In a hybrid fund, I would say equity-centric hybrid fund, or maybe pure equity fund also. And they all have received 12% returns. And they all have started 5,000 rupees per month SIP. But the only difference is that Dr. Ramesh started early. He did it for 30 years. Dr. Suresh, he just started 5 years late than Ramesh. Okay, only 5 years late. Not much difference, right? And Dr. Kamlesh started 5 years late than Dr. Suresh and 10 years late than Dr. Ramesh. So he started his SIP and continued for 20 years. And if you see the total investment, the principal amount which all three of them have invested, there is hardly any difference. Only 3 lakhs rupees difference amongst each other. Dr. Ramesh invested 18 lakhs total. Dr. Suresh invested 15 lakhs total. And Dr. Kamlesh invested 12 lakhs total. I would like to pause here for a few seconds and request each one of you to have a look at the final value which is there. The kind of difference on wealth creation is humongous. Dr. Ramesh could reach up to 1 crore 75 lakhs rupees. Dr. Suresh, unfortunately, could reach only up to 93 lakhs, 0.94 lakhs rupees. So approximately 94 lakhs, which is half of Dr. Ramesh. Dr. Suresh, just because he started 5 years late than Dr. Ramesh, he is 50% less rich when he retired. And Dr. Kamlesh could reach only up to 49 lakhs rupees. So this is how power of compounding, long-term SIP, starting early, really impacts your wealth. My humble submission to all you is that please pay full attention on your money, on your life too. I know you all are very busy saving others' lives, and that too in this pandemic. You all are super duper busy, and once again salute and hats off to you all. But at the same time, it's your responsibility to look after your wealth, to look after your health, and to look after your family members also, because finally, all these things are going to impact big time on your future lifestyle and family members too. So beneficial in volatility. It also gives you rupee cost averaging. So every up and every down works in your favor. Every up gives you more returns and valuations, and every down gives you a purchasing power ability. So you get more units and more quantity. And that is how you make the best of everything. And that's what is SIP all about. So SIP is a very beautiful combination of rupee cost averaging and power of compounding. And in long term, you can surely beat inflation, because consistently, if you do something for a longer duration, it has a high potential to beat inflation. I would like to ask you the first poll question over here. Why SIP is important in financial planning? It teaches disciplined investment. It provides rupee cost averaging. It is beneficial in market volatility, or all of the above. I request all of you to quickly answer and complete the poll. Wow, so almost 57% of the people are saying that all of the above. Wow, and 28% of the people are feeling it teaches disciplined investment. So absolutely, You all are correct, and I'm very happy that you all have understood what exactly is SIP all about. So now I'm going to show you a very nice calculator about SIP, how SIP exactly works and what exactly the power of compounding is all about. So let me show you this calculator. If you do 5,000 rupees SIP, and if you invest for 30 years, and if you receive say 15% type of returns, then you see how much money you are making. It's almost 2 crore 81 lakhs rupees. Isn't that fabulous? Now, if you see here, only 5 years delay. If you do it for 25 years, your half of the money is gone. I hope you remember the case study which we discussed about the 3 friends and doctors, right? So this is how it works wonderfully well if you start early. And let me show you one more thing. If you invest all your money in 8%, then instead of 2 crore 81 lakhs, you have just reached up to 70 lakhs only. So 1/4 of only you're getting only 25% of what you would have got if you are getting 15% kind of a CAGR return in long term. So SIP, power of compounding, long-term discipline, rupee cost averaging, all these things are so important for you all to understand if you want to create wealth in genuine sense. Now, if you do the journey, if you see the journey of compounding, in 5 years, you are making in 5 years, you are making 4,36,000 rupees. In 10 years, you are making 13,15,000 rupees. So 13 lakh bana aapka. In 15 years, you have made 30 lakhs of rupees. So your 80% of the wealth is created in the initial 15 years of your investment. And now I'm going to show you how after 15 years, every 5 years of your investment, you are making your wealth double. The value of your investment is becoming double. After 15 years, every 5 years, your money is becoming double. And that's what is power of compounding. Let me repeat once again, your 80% of the wealth is created in the initial 15 years of your investments. So if you start early, nobody can stop you by becoming rich. So let me show you after 15 years, 15 to 20 years. So in 5 years, your 30 lakhs is becoming 66 lakhs. You see, double. In 20 to 25, your 66 lakhs is becoming double. 1 crore 37 lakhs. In 25 to 30 years, another 5 years, your 1 crore 37 lakhs is becoming double. It's 2 crore 81 lakhs. From 30 to 35, another 5 years, if you want to see, your 2 crore 81 lakhs has become double, 5 crore 70 lakhs. From 35 to 40 years, your 5 crore 70 lakhs will become how much? Yes, 11 crore 52 lakhs. This is a magical calculator. This is power of compounding, and this is how it works. Trust me, you have to understand how exactly SIP works, how exactly power of compounding works, how exactly discipline will really play such a big role in your financial planning, and how exactly you can invest your money in a very systematic way, in a very proper goal-centric and maybe, future financial planning. You should know how exactly to calculate the future math. You should just use simple logic that I have to see my current lifestyle, how much I'm spending, With inflation adjustment, if I'm retiring after 20 years, 25 years, how much I will need to maintain the same standard of living, and multiply that by how many years I'm going to live. So maybe 20, 25, 30 years. I'm sure you all are doctors. You all are definitely going to look after your health and the longevity. I mean, the people are living longer. So you have to just do a simple math. Your current expenses, standard of living, inflation adjusted after you retiring, number of retirement years, and multiply all these things, and then whatever amount comes, that much money you should have when you retire. It's a very simple calculation. And for that, how much SIP per month I should do? Now reverse calculation. To achieve that amount when I retire, how much I should invest today per month with the help of mutual funds or SIP method, that I will achieve that kind of money when I retire. So that's what is called goal-based super financial planning, with proper logic, with proper practical approach, and with proper calculated risk and all the features which I've explained you are making the best use of it. So this is what we would like to encourage and empower you all about. So now over here, I'm going to run my poll number 2 question. Have you understood the importance of compounding? Say yes or no. Please reply. Wow, 60% of the people are saying yes. Oh, I'm so sorry. 85% of the people are saying yes. Lovely. The other 14% of the people, I would definitely request them to come back to us. More than happy to clear all these concepts. They are very easy. We are so passionate to empower you all, because power of compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. And I think it's the heart of your holistic goal-based financial planning. So thank you very much. I'm so happy. More than 80% of the people have understood what we are trying to say. So now I'm going to quickly explain you what is STP and SWP also. So there are three beautiful S which is offered by mutual funds. So I have explained you about SIP, now STP and SWP. So if you have, say every month you have started your SIP, and this is how every month from your bank account, it goes into a particular scheme which you have selected as per your asset allocation. And drop by drop, you're creating ocean, and that's what is systematic investment plan all about. And once you get your, say, lump sum amount, if you've got, say, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakhs rupees at one go, and you don't know whether to invest in equity or whether to invest in real estate or whether to invest in bank FD. So you should simply go to mutual fund and invest your money in liquid fund, which is very, very superb scheme and very, very ethical, very, very less risky for you. And you are just parking your money in liquid fund, and every month certain amount from that fund, liquid fund, you are investing it in some other scheme, not necessarily equity fund. But usually if you invest your money from liquid fund to equity fund for your long-term dreams and goals achievement, it works wonderfully well, because it is in a staggered way. It gives you rupee cost averaging benefit, and systematic transfer plan is what you are doing over here. And this is one of the best methods of investing your money. And the last thing is SWP, Systematic Withdrawal Plan. So it works like a pension for you. So all your hard work, all your discipline, all your mehnat which you have done for so many years with the help of SIP and STP. So SIP plus STP is equal to SWP, Systematic Withdrawal Plan. It is nothing else but your retirement planning. So when you retire, you should simply put your money investment into a particular scheme and then opt for SWP. So you can take certain amount back every month and maintain your lifestyle expenses, and you are not dependent on anyone. So this is how it works like pension for you. So SIP, STP and SWP is just sufficient and enough for you to look after all the stages of your life, and it works wonderfully well for you. Make the best use of such beautiful features which are offered by mutual fund industry to you all as an investor. So what is mutual fund and what is fixed deposit? Well, everyone knows what is fixed deposit, right? So the rate of returns are fixed in fixed deposit, but in mutual fund, it's not. Inflation adjusted returns are quite achievable in mutual fund, but in fixed deposit, it's not at many a times. Risk in fixed deposit, it's low risk, but in mutual fund, it's mark to market risk. Please remember, there is nothing which is hardcore risk. It's only a calculated risk which you are taking in mutual fund. Don't get scared. Don't feel uncomfortable, because if you are taking calculated risk, it's allowed in your life. As a doctor, you know the best when you are doing surgery, when you are operating on patients, when you are giving them any treatment, it's on a very, very calculatedly riskier measures you are doing, right? So premature withdrawal is allowed in mutual fund. Anytime you can take it, whereas in fixed deposit at times it's not allowed. And cost of investment is like expense ratios are there, but in fixed deposit there is actually a no cost, but the returns are quite low. And this is a very beautiful example I would like to quickly explain you. So if you invest your money in bank fixed deposit and if you invest your money in debt funds, this is how it affects your overall returns. So if you've invested 1 lakh rupees in 3-year bank fixed deposit and in vis-a-vis 3-year debt funds, wherein you get indexation benefit. So in bank FD, if you invest your money for 3 years, 1 lakh rupees becomes approximately 22,000. The returns which you get on 1 lakh is 22,000 rupees, provided the inflation rate is 6% and taxation is 10% slab. If you are in 20% slab, it becomes 20,000 rupees. And if you are in 30% slab, then you are only making 17,850 rupees returns on your 1 lakh investment for 3 years. But at the same time, if you invest your money in debt fund, because of the indexation benefits and because of the taxation benefit also at times, if you are considered only 20% is what you have to pay on an average, you make 24,000 rupees. So this is the kind of difference, and this is the kind of difference between bank fixed deposit and debt mutual fund. Please consider to invest your money in debt funds. And this is how you should compare your money between liquid fund and savings bank account. Usually in savings bank account, you get 4 to 6% returns taxable. And in liquid fund, many a times you will get 6 to 7% returns, that too as good as tax-free returns. But again, it depends on the market interest rates and various other factors. I would once again like to repeat that mutual funds are subject to market risk. You have to read the offer documents carefully, and past performance is never a guarantee of future performance. And this is also a very beautiful illustration which I would like to explain you over here. So when you invest your money in debt fund and when you invest your money in bank FD and when you invest your money in tax-free bonds. And over here, I have considered the indexation benefit also. So in certain schemes, hardcore debt funds, you get indexation benefit if you hold on for 3 years. So over here, I have explained you that how the returns XIRR is definitely higher if you invest in debt funds. So if you invest your money in debt funds, it is almost, the difference is almost 1.5 to 1.5% more then bank fixed deposit and tax-free bonds. And that is what I'm trying to explain you here. Well, I've already explained you here, aap ka darya hota hai ye ishq. Mutual funds are subject to market risk. I would like to start my another poll question over here. Please reply as fast as you can. How important is financial planning? Not important at all? Important? Most important. Please reply them. Wow. So 75% of the people are saying most important and 25% have said important. And wow, the best answer I've got so far in the poll is not important, 0%. So everyone who's listening to me, imagine this session is so relevant, so important, and I'm super duper happy to be a part of this knowledge sharing session with you all. So not a single person feels that financial planning as is not important. So I'm very, very happy. Oh, wow. I have a back-to-back poll question. How easy is financial planning for you? Easy, manageable, or hard? See, I have explained you so many things. Are you more confident after this session? Can you please quickly reply this? Wow. So it's manageable. Almost 54% people are saying manageable, easy. 18%, and I'm so happy that they feel it's easy. Oh, still 27% of the people are saying it's hard. Don't worry, we all are here to help you. Don't just feel it's hard. It's very, very simple. And trust me, we are going to help you. Yes, so now few slides on doctors. The doctor said he would have me on my feet in 2 weeks. And did he? Yes, I had to sell the car to pay the bill. On a lighter note, please. Over here, I'm going to tell you that you have to maintain 3 different baskets when you're investing your money. You have to definitely manage your taxes, right? You have to invest your money in such a way that you are definitely making the best use of all the tax planning instruments which are available. And I'm sure just few days back you have realized that PPF rate of interest has really fallen down drastically. So ELSS, Equity Linked Savings Scheme, becomes really, really important for you all to understand. And you must invest your money in that particular scheme because it really helps you in generating more returns, because it's a 100% equity oriented scheme by mutual fund. And the second basket which you all will have to definitely consider is your protection planning basket. And nobody else can understand this better than you all doctors. So your term insurance, your mediclaim, your critical illness mediclaim, your surgical mediclaim, your cancer specific mediclaim, your accidental coverage, everything you have to do it absolutely methodically and properly and adequately. I am emphasizing a lot on adequately. You cannot afford to have less. It is okay if you have more, but adequate is most important. And lastly, you have to draft your will. Ensure that you do proper nominations, especially for your dependents and your family members, and you have to share all these things with them. Make them a part of all these informations. You cannot just keep everything with you. And this is how you have to maintain your entire protection planning basket. And don't be greedy when you are in protection planning basket. You have to protect yourself and you have to protect your family members and dependents and near and dear ones. Over here, you don't have to think about returns, but you have to surely consider the protection planning. And that's why this basket becomes very, very important. Because if you don't have all these things adequate, then at times you have to stop your investments and SIPs. And you have to pay for all these things from your pocket. And it's absolutely not good. And the last basket is your wealth creation basket. And wealth creation basket is what we are throughout discussing with the help of mutual funds, SIP, STP, etc. And whatever so far we have discussed is all your wealth creation basket. And over here, all your medium-term, long-term goals you can fulfill with wealth creation basket. So doctors and financial planning. Well, doctors are super duper busy people. And that's the reason maybe they have little less time than others. And that's the reason maybe they are not able to pay proper attention and they're not able to give full justice to their financial planning. So please, my humble submission to you all is that you have to remove time for your financial planning. Doctors' economic cycle, as I already told you, that they are super duper busy and they start earning little late, and the kind of money they spend on their education, etc., maybe investments and all takes a back stage. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that please pay full attention, and the day one you start earning money, don't forget about power of compounding, starting early, SIP, which I've taught you. Whatever happens, certain amount should go from the day one you start earning your money. Doctors love real estate. I have so many doctor friends, dentists, and so many doctor couples, And I have so many case studies which I can share with you over here. But quickly, let me tell you, 90% of the doctors whom I have come across, please take it with a pinch of salt, that they have always invested that 90% of the money in real estate. Either they have invested their money in second home, third home, or clinic, second clinic, they've given on rent. Please remember one thing, that asset allocation, which I've taught you, is very, very important. And that's the key to success. Real estate is good. Gold is good. Fixed deposit is also good. But please diversify your money into few other asset classes like equity, mutual funds, etc. It is absolutely not a good idea that you are putting everything back into real estate. So please, if you are too much in love with real estate, think twice before investing your money, because the house where you are staying in and the clinic where you are operating from is not your investment. That's your necessity. But the second home and second clinic, etc., is it really generating you the kind of returns by rental income or so? Or you have to compare it with a proper open mind. Of course, it has capital appreciation, but compare it with equity and compare it with liquidity criteria, etc., as I already explained you. Job versus practice. So every doctor who's listening to me, maybe he or she has a dream of starting her own clinic or hospital or whatever. So that's your midlife planning. Start thinking about your midlife planning from the day one when you are young. So most of us, we make mistake. We start thinking about our children first, and we forget about our retirement planning at times. But if you are burden on your children, children may not like it. So please, I suggest all of you that first you think about your own retirement planning and then children planning. And first you think about your midlife planning and then everything else. Because midlife will come first and then other things will come. So please plan for your midlife life and your passion, your dreams, your goals, whatever you want to achieve when you are in midlife. You can only do that with proper financial planning and SIPs of the world. Most of the doctor couple whom I have met, they both are super duper busy. So it's a very big concern, if husband and wife both are doctors, both of them are having no time for looking after their wealth and their dreams and goals and financial planning. So please, both of you sit back, relax. You have to remove some time. You have to discuss with each other that what we have to do and achieve our proper financial planning, dreams, goals. So all my super duper busy doctor couples who are listening to me, come back to us, more than happy. You need counseling. You also need help. Don't forget that. You have to do your financial planning properly. Doctor's financial quotient. At times we feel that we know everything, but it's not the case. How much ever intelligent and learned you are, you need help. You need counseling. You need mentorship. You need experts' advice. Please come forward. More than happy to help you all. Seek the advice from a very good financial advisor who are definitely expert in their domain. You need that. You take your decisions, but you seek help. That's what I'm trying to tell you here. Irony of doctor's life. It's wrong for doctors to retire early. Is it so? No. Doctor is always going to work till he or she is alive. But the pace and the speed at which you are going to work will definitely suffer. So my humble submission to all of you is that generate income. You are not going to work at the same speed throughout your life, but being a doctor, you are going to work till you are alive for your patients, right? So please ensure that you have enough passive income which looks after you. And you don't have to work as hard as when you are young or when you are in midlife. When you retire, you can be at a little bit slower pace. At the same time, you're working hard for your patients too. And your financial planning is looking after your lifestyle so very well. And that is what passive income is all about. And that is what you have to achieve. Mutual fund is not only equity. Mutual fund is much more than that. It is open-ended, close-ended, equity-linked, balanced, debt funds, money market, capital protection, fixed maturity. I think I've explained you enough about all these schemes. Make the best. And we all have certain nature. So riskometer is very important. And you should know whether you're moderate, conservative, or aggressive. And according to your nature, you should design your financial planning and asset allocation. It works wonderfully well. And now it's the time for poll question. How you derive the risk profiling? By age of an investor or by psychology of the investor? I hope you remember when I spoke to you all about asset allocation designing. Quickly reply this question. All right. So we have 50%. Wow. Exactly 50% of the participants are feeling it's by the age, and 50% are saying by psychology. Good. I'm very happy that most of you are trying to understand the concepts, and you're making your financial planning and asset allocation work for you very, very easy. Very, very happy for you all, guys. You all are doing wonderfully well. All right. So now last few slides, and in 5 minutes, I think we are going to wind up. You all can be ready with your questions. More than happy to answer them. So this is the simple financial goal plan. Now I am going to explain you how exactly inflation really hits you, very badly. So if your goal is, say, if your present value of your goal is, say, 50 rupees, if you see 50 rupees, and if you consider 6% inflation, and after 10 years, if you wish to achieve the same goal, you will need almost 90 rupees for achieving the same goal. So this is how inflation hits you. So if your goal is 100 rupees as of today, after 30 years, and if the inflation is 6%, you will need 575 rupees for achieving today's 100 rupees goal. And this is how inflation hits you so badly. So now you understood why I'm repeatedly explaining you about long-term compounding, inflation beating, mutual funds, SIP, asset allocation, future value, etc. And let me quickly explain you this. If your child is, say, 2 years old, and if you want to spend today, if the wedding is, say, costing you around, say, 44 lakhs rupees, for 45 lakhs rupees for a wedding, after, when your child is, say, 26-year-old, you will have to spend close to 2 crore 35 lakhs rupees, and that's the kind of money you will have to have. So you have to start your SIP today, which will give you, after 26 years, approximately 2 crores 35 lakhs rupees for achieving your child's marriage. This is what I'm trying to say. And if your child wants to go for higher studies, say, or maybe foreign or whatever, if your cost is, say, 44 lakhs rupees today, and if you need 2 crore 35 lakhs rupees after 26 years, so for 24 years, at least you will have to do the SIP of 4,000 rupees. And this is how you have to understand that if you'll not start the SIP of 4,000 rupees today for your child for 24 years, you may not be able to achieve this goal for him or her. So please remember one thing, you will have to correlate your investments with the happiness, with the joy, with the future financial planning and goals of your family members too. And this is a very beautiful slide which just sums it up. Everything is, it's a sum up. So if your time horizon is, say, 1 day to 1 year, very short term, then you must invest your money in liquid mutual funds. Like possible goals which you can achieve with the help of liquid mutual fund is your contingencies funding, park your bonuses, windfalls, etc. I hope you remember when I explained you STP, systematic transfer plan. You have to park your fund in which scheme? Liquid mutual fund scheme. If your goal is 1 year to 3 years horizon, short term, then you should invest your money in debt funds like your vacations, car purchase, park retirement corpus for fixed income, etc. If your horizon is, say, 3 to 6 years, medium term, then you must consider your investments into hybrid mutual funds like house purchase, car purchase, startup funding. These are the possible goals which you can achieve. And finally, if your goal or the time horizon for your investment objective is long term, anything, say, 6 to 10 years kind of a horizon, if you have, then you must consider diversified equity mutual fund scheme, because equity is the heart of your investment, and equity has the highest potential to generate double-digit returns and beat inflation in medium to long term. But remember, equity is no shortcut fatafat, no magic stick, no intraday trading, no 1 year double. No, you cannot have equity for all these things. You cannot be fearful. You cannot be greedy when you're investing your money in equity. Equity is the reflection of your own country's GDP and growth prospects. And if you give time to equity, especially through mutual funds, definitely you're going to make a lot of money, because this is how a very process driven way and approach you have taken for your wealth creation journey, and that too with the help of a product, superior product called equity. So children's education, children's marriage, your retirement planning, dream house, startup capital for your child, etc. Surely you can invest your money in equity, whether it's diversified, mid-cap, small-cap, sectorial, etc. And equity has the highest potential to generate passive income in your life, and very, very liquid. After certain years, you can liquidate it immediately. You can get your money immediately. So that's why I put equity at a very superior level. And it has no emotional attachment, right? You will never sell your gold jewelry to achieve any dream or goal. But you can just knock it off equity and achieve any dream or goal you wish to achieve in your life. And that's why equity is the most superior product as a class. And now it's the time for poll question. Did you learn useful things in today's session? Yes or no? Oh my God, 100%. This is what the wow moment in any speaker or trainer's life. I'm super duper happy to know that every 100% of the vote goes for yes. I loved it. Thank you so much. And I think on that, I finish my presentation. Once again, salute and kudos to all the doctors who are listening to me. And I thank the entire team, especially Sanjeev and UTI Mutual Fund, for inviting me over here. More than happy to answer any of the questions you all have. God bless all of you. Keep doing good work, which you are always doing. Thank you so
much. Thank you so much, Alpa ma'am, for your enlightful session and briefing about the mutual fund SIPs and explaining the inflations and future value. These all are the important things for the financial planning. So today we have a few questions, which is with me. The first question is from Dr. Anandan Krishnan. So he asked about actually, just to brief the question in short. He just want to know, you said equity mutual fund which give the dividend yields. So that dividend goes to the mutual fund, and when the investor, when he will get the dividend, so he just want to know what was the dividend, what is the taxation on the dividend, whether it is applicable on to the AMC or to the investor, just to brief on that. Equity dividend taxation, he just want to.
I think we have a big expert with all of us. And I would love to invite Deepak ji. You have to answer all the questions.
Am I audible?
Yeah, Deepak.
Okay. Hi, doctor. So on your question about the taxation on dividend, we have a session tomorrow on tax planning. We can take all the questions there, but I can tell you that you are entitled or liable to pay taxes only on the dividend income which comes to you. So the scheme which is getting the dividend, you will not be required to pay dividend on that. That adds up to your NAV. A lot of people have this question that what happens to the dividend on the stocks which are owned by a mutual fund scheme. All the dividend which comes to the scheme gets added to your NAV. So you don't lose on anything on any of the dividend at all. And Alpa, of course, covered very well on the whole idea about mutual fund. It's a fantastic product and the products for the times and the for future.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So one more question by Mr. Dr. Nitesh Mishra. He just want to know, is the equity mutual fund are safe or not?
A very interesting question. Alpa, I'll take this question as well. Okay. These are very broad statements. I mean, if I ask you, is car driving safe? There's so many people who die of car driving, right? While driving car, they may meet with an accident and all. So let me tell you first thing. In terms of safety, there's never been a case in India and overseas where a mutual fund goes bust. A mutual fund cannot go bust in the sense that it happens in a lot of chit funds or a lot of these kinds of scheme where the company just goes in the air. It doesn't happen in the mutual fund because all your investments, and fortunately we are in a country where the regulations are extremely, extremely stringent. In fact, we are at par with the best in the world. Our regulations make it very clear that all the holdings of a mutual fund are held by a trust. So it just cannot, that people can just take away the money. So first and foremost, in terms of safety, ke koi paisa leke bhag jayega, that's not possible. Now, the second thing which comes out is that maine paisa dala, the money which I've invested, that can it go down? Yes, it can go down. But in the short term, if you see globally, the history of equity market says the market tends to go upwards only. I mean, whether it is India's Sensex, which started at a base of 100 in 1979-80, and today we are at 50,000. So during this journey of 100 to 50,000, there have been so many tragic incidents and there have been so many sharp cuts in the market. But eventually market tends to go up only. जैसे पानी का धारा नीचे की तरफ ही है, markets की धारा ऊपर की तरफ ही है. So if you remain invested, the markets will make sure that your money bounces back even if there are cuts in the short term. So I would say equity mutual fund are safe and by far the best investment avenue in these times. I don't want to further elongate this question, but if I have to compare with any of the investment options which are available today, we really hardly have any options but mutual funds.
True. Thank you, sir. So there is another question from the doctors is like, he want to know, is there any scheme, he want to invest in a government security. So is there any scheme which facilitate to invest in a government security, and what was the yield should be expected from this scheme?
Okay, so friends, there are mutual funds, as Alpa explained to you, and I had also mentioned in my sessions if you were there. In India, if your time horizon is 1 day, you want to invest for 1 day, and there are many people who invest for 1 day. So large corporates, banks, when they have thousands of crore rupees, if Reliance has to make a payment on Tuesday of 2,000 crore rupees, they'll not keep this money in the bank account for a single day. They'll put into mutual fund. So even if your time horizon is 1 day or your time horizon is 100 years, you want to leave some money as inheritance for your grandchild, the options in mutual fund are available. You can invest for 1 day or 100 years. I forgot the question. The question was GSEC. Yes. So if somebody wants to invest into GSEC, for those who do not understand, GSEC means government securities. That means where the government themselves are borrowing. These are debt papers where the risk of downside is, as it said, is zero. Okay, मतलब government ही bust हो गया तो क्या बचा वाला बात है. So there's no chance of you losing money in GSEC. GSEC funds are there which invest into government securities, and you can always invest into them. As far as yield goes, see the interest rate scenario in India. We are seeing a declining interest rate. I'm sure you would have realized the interest which you get on your fixed deposit, the interest which you get on your deposits of any kind, and the interest you pay on your home loans and any other loans. You would realize that we are on a declining interest rate trajectory right now. And the GSEC yields also keep changing from time to time. So based on when you invested and for what time horizon you would invest, whatever is the prevailing yield on GSEC is what you will get there.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. There is another question from the doctors. Is like very interesting one. He said, ki, as Alpa ma'am explained about the systematic transfer plan. So he just want to know he having the lump sum fund, but he want to time the market. So is there any instrument which can facilitate which when there is a downside in the market, the fund automatically goes investment and like that. I thought he want to know about the trigger SIP. If I'm not wrong, that is the answer.
Yeah, so there are variety of options where you set a trigger that yes, on this particular trigger my money will get invested. Alternatively, what you can do is you can invest your money into a liquid scheme and wait for your trigger. So if assuming today the Sensex is at 50,000 and Nifty is at 15,000, and you decided, okay, when the Nifty comes to say 14,300, I would like to invest. So on the day when it's 14,300, you can easily with one click or through your advisor, switch your money from the liquid into equity schemes. However, my advice would be timing. People haven't been very, very successful. If you ask me, let's look at last 1 year. Ek saal pehle, when things were looking so bad globally, right? Entire industries were shut down. Airline industry was completely shut down. Your tourism industry was completely shut down. Hospitality industry was completely shut down. So many industries were shut down. The entire businesses were down. Who would have thought that market would actually go up? Now, if we keep applying our mind as to, okay, market would decline at that point in time, timing would not have worked. So I would suggest put your money into a liquid scheme and do an STP, which is a systematic transfer plan, whereby your money systematically moves from a liquid scheme to an equity scheme. So, for example, if you think markets are, I presume because you're talking of timing the market, if you think markets are likely to correct, then you can set a STP for next 24 months or next 12 months, that each month on a fixed day, your money will go into equity. So if markets correct during the time, you will get that benefit automatically. That is my advice to you.
I thought the another question is from Dr. Sonal Mane. I thought the answer, it is already answered. She want to know about the STP and what should be the time horizon for the STP.
Now, so again, it's like asking ki bukhar mein kya dawai honi chahiye. Every answer is different from different people. As Alpa also suggested, everything has to be linked to your goal, your situation, where do you stand. So I cannot say ki, you should move every money in within 6 months or within 12 months. It doesn't apply like that. If you have a large sum, suppose you have sold a big property and you want to get into the market, you can do a 12 to 18 months kind of an STP also. But you have something, you've sold a car and you've got some money, you can probably do an STP for 3 months only and move into a market. So it depends a lot on various things. There's no one right answer is what I would say. Like in your industry, it doesn't apply in ours as well.
Yeah, the best way to is the long term. Keep investing.
Absolutely. There's several studies globally and in India which proves that longer term equity is, it's like 100% you gain types. So in the sense, the probability of your investment giving positive returns keep increasing with the time horizon you increase. So एक साल में 50% चांस है कि आपका पैसा बढ़ेगा, 50% चांस है आपका पैसा घट जाएगा, राइट? बट अगर यही 10 साल में करोगे तो शायद 99% चांस है कि आपका पैसा बढ़ेगा और 1% चांस है या 2% चांस है कि it will decline. So you should have a longer horizon, and trust me, we are blessed that we are in a country like India, where our demographics will ensure that India will continue to grow irrespective of anything else. And that would automatically turn out to great returns in the capital market as well.
So there is another question from Dr. Nayan. He want to know how as a doctor, he want to know how he should find out the best mutual fund, which are the best mutual fund, and can you suggest any few of mutual fund schemes for the investor?
Yeah, sure. So can you suggest a good medicine for uric acid? I have high uric acid. What would you suggest? So it's again the same thing. There's no one right medicine. My advice would be I go to a doctor for taking medicine. My advice would be that you should have a financial advisor. Definitely, you need a financial advisor. Do not try to do it yourself, just the way you would advise me that I should not try to treat myself. 3 days back, I had some pain in my leg, and I was doing a hot water fermentation. When I spoke to my doctor, he said, you should not have done hot water fermentation. What you required was a cold ice pack. So what I'm saying is we should not try to do things ourselves. There's nothing like one scheme, unlike stock market where there are tips and this thing. There are many, many schemes which are doing very well. And also, let me tell you, nobody knows, not your financial advisor, not me, not Alpa, not Sanjeev. We know that which scheme will do very well or which scheme will do the best in 10 years. It's like asking you which of your patients will live the longest. You do not know, right? Same way, we do not know which scheme will do very well. But yes, we very well know that which are the areas which would be better suited. Say, for example, if you're starting investments now, I would say you should have an SIP in a large cap scheme. Large cap scheme is the scheme which invests into large top companies of India, right? They will tend to do well, but there are opportunities in small cap also. There are a lot of small companies which have an opportunity to become big. There are opportunities in mid cap also. Then there are flexi cap, there are multi cap. This is a professional field, and I would say a professional help would definitely be helpful for your portfolio. So my advice with folded hands is that do get a financial advisor, and I'm sure it will help your portfolio in the long term.
Yeah, exactly. As Deepak sir rightly said, it's differ from person to person on the risk appetite. There is a different classes like large cap, mid cap, and various other classes.
So and also, if I may advise here one more thing. See, investment is, and a very important message I'm saying, these are some of the things which we learned over 20 years, hard way. Investment is not about the knowledge of finance. If it was, then all the finance professors would have been the richest and wealthiest people in the country. Neither it is about economics. It is actually most importantly about emotional, about your emotions, about your behavior. So an advisor is needed for you, because even if you have full knowledge, you will be surprised. I take sessions across the country, okay, on mutual fund. By your guess, I should be doing my own investments, but I have a financial advisor myself, right? It's not only about the knowledge, it's also about control on your emotions. So a financial advisor not only provides you the knowledge and the experience, but also helps you control your behavior and reckless decisions, right? Why did Arjun was the fighter in Mahabharata? Why did he need Krishna? Krishna was his advisor. The need of Krishna was to control on his emotions. At some point, Arjuna said, कि अरे मेरे तो पिताजी और बड़े पिताजी और ताऊ जी मेरे सामने हैं, चाचा जी सामने हैं, मैं इनको कैसे मारूं? Now, what was his need? He was a great warrior. But what he needed was somebody to give him that emotional strength and said, this is a dharam yudh, you have to do it, right? Same way, your financial advisor will play a role in your journey to financial freedom. And I would strongly recommend to have a financial advisor.
True. Very, very truly explained, sir. So there is another question from Dr. Vishnu Goel. He asked the question, is it the right time to invest in equity mutual funds?
गोयल साहब, बहुत कॉमन क्वेश्चन, बहुत फ्रिक्वेंटली आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन है. अगर किसी को ये मालूम है कि 1 साल बाद, 5 साल बाद या 10 साल बाद मार्केट कहाँ होगा, तो वो डेफिनेटली इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर दे सकते हैं. मुझे नहीं मालूम है. मेरा ये मानना है, जैसा कि मैंने शुरू में कहा, equity market tends to go upwards. There can be corrections in the short duration. If in the shorter duration there are uncertainties, one can stagger the investment rather than putting in one shot. You can do an SIP or STP. If your question would be, is it the right time to do SIP? Then I would say the best time to do an SIP was 25 years back. The second best time is today. So best time to chala gaya. वो 25 साल पहले था. I presume Goel साहब, Dr. साहब would be of my age at least. So 25 साल पहले, if you would have done an SIP, that would have been the best time. But if for some reason we could not do it that point in time, the second best time is today. So definitely it's a time to invest into equity mutual fund. May not be lump sum. You can stagger it through SIP or STPs over a period of time. And trust me, if 10 years down the line, if Sanjeev organizes similar webinar and we all are talking again, we'll realize कि अरे यार, anybody who would not have invested कि अरे यार कितनी बड़ी गलती कर दी. I don't know how many of you remember in the times of Harshad Mehta in 1992. That's the time when I joined my the industry. Sensex had crossed 4,000. 4,000 पे अरे 4,000 हो गया because it's shot from 600 to 4,000 in a very short span of time. बोला 4,000 हो गया, अब कितना होगा? उस टाइम में जिसने कहा 4,000 हो गया, अब कितना होगा, अगर वो आज उसको अपना वर्ड्स याद है तो आज 50,000 हो गया, राइट? वो 4,000 पे पीक पे भी अगर उसने इन्वेस्ट किया और वहां से उसका पैसा आधा भी हो गया और आज वो इन्वेस्टेड है, तो he still has beaten every other instruments of investments. So definitely equity mutual fund is an investment which is a good investment. You can choose to decide whether you want to go lump sum or in a staggered fashion. I hope that answers.
Yeah. So there is another question from Mumbai. In a presentation, Alpha ma'am explained about the open-ended scheme and the close-ended scheme. So he just want to know, just to brief about the close-ended scheme, and there is a word called capital protection. So is these funds are really capital protected? Just to explain.
Okay, so close-ended schemes are those schemes where the duration of the scheme is fixed, pre-decided. तो आज शुरू किया, मान लो 10-year close-ended scheme है, तो 10 साल के बाद आप उसमें इन्वेस्टेड भी रहना चाहते हैं तो वो स्कीम में पैसा आपको 10 साल के बाद पूरा नेसेसरली आपको रिटर्न कर दिया जाएगा, unless that scheme after 10 years becomes converted from closed-end to an open-end, right? That is the thing. So that is the, for example, there have been schemes which are close-ended, 15-year close-ended scheme. So at the end of the 15-year duration, you don't have a choice, but the money will be returned. In an open-ended scheme, it's open. You can enter any time, you can exit any point in time. In a close-ended, your exit also is blocked with, so suppose if it's blocked for 7 years or 8 years or 10 years, then you can't move out of that scheme for that much duration. There was a second part of the question.
Is the capital protection schemes are really capital protection?
Okay, so mutual funds as a product category, they do not guarantee any kind of returns. Theoretically speaking, everything goes wrong and your money can go down. There's no guarantees as such. What are capital protection schemes are basically debt schemes. So for example, if it is locked in for 3 years, और मान लीजिए आज जो इंटरेस्ट रेट चल रहा है उसमें अगर 90 रुपए का किसी ने डेट प्रोडक्ट खरीद लिया और 3 साल में वो 100 रुपया हो जाएगा, तो आपने 100 रुपया इन्वेस्ट किया, उसमें से 90 रुपया उन्होंने डेट स्कीम में डाल दिया जो 3 साल में बढ़ के 100 रुपया हो जाएगा. सो आपका 100 रुपए का 100 रुपया मिल जाएगा is a very high probability. The remaining 10 rupees probably they will invest into equities to give you an upside. So if you ask me, capital protection scheme, yes, the capital protection scheme largely, generally would mean that you will get your capital back, though there are no guarantees as such.
So there's another question. I thought we will take 2 more questions.
Sure.
He want to know, like there are various funds. It's been like in the mutual funds, there are various schemes. So is there any mutual fund schemes who manage the scheme itself? So I thought you just want to know about the fund of fund.
Okay. So what happens is there are variety of mutual fund schemes. There are thousands of mutual fund schemes and various varieties of mutual fund schemes. So, there's so much innovation which keeps going on. And one of the innovation which has happened is, as Sanjeev suggested, something called fund of funds. Now, fund of funds, like for example, in a normal mutual fund scheme, you invest into mutual fund scheme. That mutual fund scheme goes out and invests into some securities. It could be debt securities, it could be equities, right? In a fund of fund, the scheme collects money from you, and rather than investing into securities, they in turn goes and invest into other funds. So for example, they've identified 5 funds or 2 funds or 4 funds. Say for example, very popular in international funds, right? So there could be a fund of fund which invests into international funds. Okay, 30% इसमें से US के कोई म्यूचुअल फंड में इन्वेस्ट होगा, another 30% यूरोप के कोई फंड में इन्वेस्ट हो जाएगा, another 30% जापान के कोई फंड में इन्वेस्ट हो जाएगा. So you get exposure into various funds by a single scheme. Such scheme the expense ratio is a little higher because there are dual expense ratio. जो ओरिजिनल स्कीम है जिसमें आपने इन्वेस्ट किया उसका भी एक्सपेंस रेशियो होगा, और ये स्कीम जिस स्कीम में जाके पैसा डाल रहा है उसका भी एक्सपेंस रेशियो होगा, तो स्लाइटली हायर कॉस्ट वुड बी देयर, बट इन सर्टन केसेस अ फंड ऑफ फंड कैन वर्क वेल.
So the last question, this is from Bangalore, I thought. He want to know, is there any scheme or the fund manager who manage equity and debt himself? So is there any scheme in the fund manager itself take a call? What should be the investment in equity part? What should be invest in a debt part? So how it is going to be managed?
I presume by managing, he means in terms of the ratio of equity versus debt in a scheme.
Yeah.
Then what he's referring to is there are some schemes called dynamic asset allocation fund kind of thing, where based on certain formulas, the fund manager decide whether to or a balance advantage kind of funds where
it's a balance fund kind of
balance advantage kind of fund where there is a debt and equity and based on the market valuation, and all the fund manager decides based on the scheme details as to what ratio of equity and debt could be managed for you. So those are balance advantage fund schemes.
Yeah. I thought we are ending with the questions. There's so many questions has been answered.
Oh, so nice.
Thank you so much for your for the session and explaining about the mutual fund, SIPs, and all the financial planning techniques and tools and techniques. So thank you so much for your answers and all that, sir.
Thank you, Sanjeev. My request to each of you doctors, first of all, I always salute you for the great service which you are doing to the society. And last 1.5 years have really made us all recognize. I mean, of course, we do recognize otherwise also, but it's made us recognize even more that in these tough times, doctors have been great saviors. So salute to each one of you. My sincere advice to you, while I am in the mutual fund industry, don't think that this is a salesman's advice. This is an advice coming from my heart. Definitely start a mutual fund SIP. Do not think twice about it. Immediately call your financial advisor, start a mutual fund SIP. Will not matter which scheme you're choosing, which fund house you're choosing, which category of scheme you're choosing. Link it with the financial goal. So agar you have kids who are going to go for higher education 10 years from now, or you have kids who will get married 15 years from now, 20 years from now, or you have your retirement which will be 30 years from now, start an SIP. And if you noticed in Alpa's example, in some of the cases, for example, she was talking about a wedding of a daughter where you could start with an SIP of 4,000 rupees and could still, plan for your daughter's wedding. So do start early, do start small. Do start for every financial goal. The key is starting early. The key is absolutely starting early. And the beauty of SIP is that you do not have to time the market. Just doesn't matter. कितना भी market बढ़ा हुआ हो, कितना भी घटा हुआ हो, सोचने का ही नहीं है. It is like विटामिन की गोली रोज ले लेने का, मल्टीविटामिन की गोली, वैसे हर महीने SIP कर लेने का. There is nothing to be thought about it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alpa. Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you, McLeod's. Thank you, Sony, all of you. Great team, McLeod's. I would say it's a fantastic initiative by McLeod's, talking about risk mitigator and how they have beautifully linked the risk mitigation as what you all do for patients, risk mitigating, risk of diabetes, risk of various cardiac diseases and all. And how you have merged with the finance as a topic for risk mitigate. I'm very impressed with what you guys have done. Fantastic job. Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you, Deepak sir. Thank you, Alpa.
It's always a pleasure listening to Deepak ji. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you so much, the entire team.
Thank you. Before closing today's session, tomorrow we are going to be joining on the same time on the tax planning. So it is going to be a very important session. So before logout, it's a request to doctors, please share your feedback on the closing form. So it will help us to improve the portal and share the feedback on the same. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, sir.